And good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Brew. Special in-studio guest today. We have none other than Bill Hunnicutt.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Thank you for being here. And just in case you're wondering, you're seeing all of these red signs all over Troup County, all over LaGrange. This is the person that's responsible for these signs. And just tell the people what your office you're running for there, Bill.
I am running for the Office of Tax Commissioner for Troup County. It's the constitutional office that's in every county. The job of the tax commissioner is to collect all the taxes, the real estate taxes, also handle all the car, boat, and trailer, and mobile home tags and titles and taxes for the county and the state.
All of that, man?
All of that.
And you're up to the challenge to do all of that.
Kevin, I am ready to go.
You ready to go?
I'm ready for this campaign to be done and be in the office.
Okay. Now, Bill, when did you decide that you wanted to run for this office? How many months or years ago? Or
You know, I'm going to try to make this a short story.
Okay.
But a little over a year ago, I was interviewing with some of the big financial services companies in Atlanta. And part of what they do is give you personality tests.
All right.
They don't call them that, and they get upset when you call them that, but they're personality tests, okay? And so I took the test, and the guys got really excited because I scored really well in where most of their top producers score, except for one very odd thing.
Okay.
Most guys that are top producers in financial services industries have very little concern for their community. There's actually a category on those tests that say concern for your community. And my scores were through the roof.
Okay.
And so, you know, it was odd. I came home and I showed my wife those test results.
All right.
And she said, "You're not going to be happy until you're doing something to help Troup County." And I said, "You're right." And so I started putting the word out to people that I want to use my skill set to help our county. And so not too long after that, as God typically does,
Right.
I got word that Gary Wood, who's been our tax commissioner for 16 years, is going to retire and not run after this. And so some people came to me and said, "Bill, you would be great at that job."
Wow.
And so I called Mr. Wood and asked if I could come talk to him. We did. We talked for almost 2 hours the first time we talked. And when we were done, he said, "Bill, you would be great at this job. It's important for our county. You know, I would want you to do that." And so I said, "Well, great. Let me talk to my wife." I did. When we got done with that, I called him and I said, "Okay, I want to run, but where can I learn this job?" And he said, "Well, that's a great question." What I did 16 years ago was I went to Meriwether County and volunteered in that office, and I learned the job. He said, "If you'll come up here and do that, I'll teach you the job."
Okay.
And I said, "That would be fantastic."
Wow.
And so, the next question I asked was, "Well, Gary, is that legal?"
I was getting ready to, I was thinking about that too.
Right, and he said, "Well, I did it 16 years ago." And I said, "Okay, but is it legal?" I'm just picking at Gary a little bit. But,
All right.
But so he said, "Bill, if it'll make you feel better, we'll call, there's an organization called GATO, the Georgia Association of Tax Officers, that oversees all the tax offices." And we called and spoke to the executive director. And, he not only said it's legal, he said, "Thank you. I wish more guys would be proactive like that and learn this job before they get elected so that when they get on, they know what they're doing." His job would be much easier if everybody would do that. And so with that, I got excited. I was encouraged. And so that's what I did. I went up there. Mr. Wood spent some time with me and gave me lots of books and laws to study. But in the end, I learned how that office runs. And it is the most efficiently run office in the state.
The tax commissioner.
Our tax commissioner, there's 159 counties in the state of Georgia. Ours is the most efficiently run. And when I say that, there's 9 ladies in the tax commissioner in that office. There's almost 70,000 people here in Troup County.
Right.
So that's one employee for 7,000 people. The next most efficient office is one for about 4,800. Most tax officers run one for about 3,000. So with half the staff, we're running that office, and we're collecting at a 99.9% rate.
Are you serious?
Yep. And we collect our own delinquent taxes. Most places feed that out to collection agencies to do. So we're doing it with our staff here. And so what that means is that's keeping our taxes low because we're not spending extra money for extra staff to do a great job.
So that's why it's important.
It's a big plus. And you know, running that office is a business. That the office of the tax commissioner is completely separate from all the other government entities. And so there's no oversight there. So we got to make sure the guy running that office understands business and understands the process of what it takes to run that office. And I'm the guy that knows how to do that.
You the guy that knows how to do that. And you've already been trained and learned how. You've been endorsed by Gary Wood.
110%. And Mr. Wood knows all three candidates. You know, and I do want to say thank you to the other candidates who have run. I want to say thank you to all the guys who are running for office in our county. And I want to encourage other people in our county to get out and run for office. I promise it's not as bad as you might think. There's a few naysayers out there, but 99% of the people are very friendly and very appreciative of what you're doing. And, you know, when I went and voted, I noticed that most of the offices are unopposed. And not, you know, the people that are there for the most part are doing a good job, but that's not good. We need multiple people running so the issues get out there and people know what's going on. So please get out and do something to help our community.
Okay, all right. Now, your profession, your line of, do you think your line of work that you're in, and you can tell the people who don't know you what line of work you're in, do you think your line of work has also prepared you to take on an office of this magnitude?
Oh, absolutely. So my background, I started and ran a mortgage company from the ground up by myself, a mortgage banking company, which is different than a brokerage company. So we actually originated, closed, underwrite, sold, you know, insured. We were the smallest company in the country that was a mortgage bank that was fully Fannie, Freddie, FHA, and VA approved to sell directly to those.
Wow.
And that took a lot of work, a lot of expertise, and a lot of building a great team around me to do that. You know, and so that's what it takes to do this. I know how important it is, and managing people is critical. You know, most of my employees, even the ones that were out of state, have been calling me during this campaign and so encouraged. The guys that live here that work for me, you know, most of them are helping on my campaign. So they know what a great job I did and know I can do a good job here. You know, and then working in filing record management now, you know, that's a lot of what that job is making sure everything's organized and put together right, and you know, filing and storing and keeping up with all the information.
So it sounds like your work will be cut out for you.
It fits my skill set perfectly. It's almost unbelievable. You know, when I started sitting down and going through what the job was, you almost couldn't find a better fit for my career and my skill set.
I don't understand how people can actually walk into a position like this and not be trained for it. You know, I know that's another subject totally.
Right. You know, for me, and it's odd you say that. You know, there are those out there, those few little negative people out there that have actually said that, questioned whether that was legal or ethical. Right. To me, it was absolute basic common sense. If you're going to do a job, I can't go to Kevin Dunn and look you in the eye and say, I'm going to do a great job for you, when I don't even know what the whole job is. To me, it was common sense. You go in there, you learn. You know, and not just Mr. Wood. He does a great job. Right. But nobody's perfect. Right. And so my ideal, when I want to do a great job at something, I find people that do a great job, and I go see them. And there's other tax commissioners in the state. You know, I've been up to Cobb County, talked to Sandra, you know, about the senior citizens and how their senior citizens don't pay school tax. You've got to educate yourself. The only way to do that is find other people that do it and do it well. You know, I've even called and talked to tax commissioners out of state. I did some research on some things and found some guys in Arizona doing some technical things with kiosks, little like an ATM machine, right? That you can handle a lot of your tax and card issues with, and then they pay for themselves. People don't have to come to your office. It's a convenience for the citizens. You know, you've got to look outside of your box to find the best answers. And so I've done that. I've got some great ideas ready to go when I get in also.
Great. Now, people, you know, a lot of times our voter turnout is not really what it should be.
No.
What would you say to inspire people who may be teetering about whether or not they're going to vote tomorrow? What would you say to them in regards to the importance of getting out and voting?
I would say it's absolutely critical. You know, we'll have less than a 10% of our county turn out and vote. you know, guys, we got to do better than that. Now, I don't know how else to say it. We've got to do better. The odd thing is, as you get out and meet the people, lots of people talk about it and care.
Right.
But they don't make that final step of going and voting. And, you know, we've got to do that and educate yourself. You know, the other thing I'll tell you, we've got to make sure we get the right people in the right job.
Right, right.
You know, there's, especially in small towns, you have a lot of people that are voting for somebody because they're their buddy or their friend. And friends are great.
Right.
And I would never encourage somebody not to be friends with somebody.
Right.
But this is our county. The citizens have got to do, your job as a Troup County citizen is to find the best guy to do the job that we're looking at. And that's critical. And I hope that people will do their homework, learn who's done his homework, learn who understands the job, and get out and vote that way.
Now, besides you being from Troup County,
Right?
what are the other reasons that you are passionate and you want to serve your county in this way?
You know, I don't know how to explain it except to say when you grew up in a family like I did, you know, my grandfather was the coach here at LaGrange High School for 30 years. You know, my dad was a dentist here. My mom's been on every, I think she's been on every board in this county. You know, starting with my grandfather, they just had a deep-seated love for this community. You know, I'll never forget my grandfather, they had dinners for him before he passed away, and all his old players would come back.
Okay.
And they would talk about what a great influence he was. And I'll never forget walking out of one of those, and he said, Bill, he couldn't even hear or see at this point, hardly. He said,
Wow.
I'm not sure what all they said, but I can tell you no amount of money in the world is worth making an impact on your citizens of Troup County. You know, keep that in mind. And that's one of the, you know, when you hear that, you see that over and over from your family, and you love the people of the county, you almost can't not do it. I don't know how else to explain it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll get a little emotional if I get too much more in depth.
Well, that says a lot. That speaks a lot of volume. Now, Bill, too, you know, I'm pretty sure with this job, you know, every day is not sunny.
Right.
How do you plan on handling adversity that you are faced with in this office?
I'm glad you asked that. One of the best skills I possess is unifying people, bringing people together to see the big picture. You know, my employees, if you go back and talk to my employees, they'll tell you the greatest thing about me was how I managed problems, how I managed upset people. You know, in the mortgage business, when you have originators who are salespeople who get paid when the loan closes, and you have underwriters whose job is to make sure that loan's done right and can turn down and not do those, there's a lot of inherent conflict there. Right. Okay.
I can only imagine.
You know, you have clients that get upset because they don't understand the process, and if they don't get the loan, they get upset. You know, and so I spend a lot of time, you know, with conflict, and I always could have people come out understanding. The answer may be no, but they have a clear understanding of why. They know it's not just, I'm the boss and I said so. You know, I had one lady, I'll never forget, she walked out of my office one day and she turned around and she said, Bill, I don't understand how every time I come to you, you say no and I walk out smiling. You know, and it's because you have to talk to people and make them understand that, you know, there's always another side to the story. But unifying people, you know, unifying the leadership, you know, that's the other thing I want to talk about today. Our county needs unified leadership. One of the things that I was a little disheartened about when I got out and started talking to the people of Troup County was there's a lot of conflict between the different high schools, people that graduated from the different high schools, I should say. There's a lot of conflict between the city and the county. There's a lot of conflict between the three cities. And conflict is going to be there. Right. But we've got to have people that in leadership that are for the whole community. It can't be a we versus them mentality. Right. It's got to be a us. And we've all got to be able to sit down and work together and push forward for a greater Troup County. And I have sat down with almost every elected official here. If they didn't sit down with me, it's not because I didn't ask. Right. And 99% of them understand my skill set, understand my vision, and are more than willing to sit down and talk through things that our county is going to go to. So, you know, this job is we've got to run the office right, but there's more to being a leader in this community than doing just your job. We've got, as leadership, to look out for each other and pull together.
Great, great. All right, one last question, then I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Okay.
I know you're a family man, so tell us about your immediate family.
So my wife is Dr. Karen Hunnicutt, the greatest pediatrician around. You know, she works so hard, and I do want to say publicly thank you to Karen. You know, adding this campaign to all she does was a burden to her, and she's been so great and so supportive. She is from Troup County. She went to Troup High School, graduated. I believe she was second in her class. She had a 4.0, but back then it was she was salutatorian. She was also the homecoming queen. So not many guys get to marry the smartest and the prettiest. But you know, she's got a beautiful soul, and she's a great person. I love her to death. And we've got three boys. My oldest is Will Hunnicutt. He's actually William Oliver Hunnicutt the fifth.
Wow.
Will is a junior in high school. My middle son Harrison is a freshman at LaGrange High, and my youngest son Davis is at Gardner Newman. He is in the 7th grade.
Wow.
And they're three great boys, and we have a great family and love them.
That's great. That's great. Well, Bill Hunnicutt, wish you much success.
Thank you.
And thank you for stopping by and being a guest on the Morning Brew.
I appreciate you having me.
Okay. All right.